Hello and namaste, friends. Sound check time. Sound check, sound check. Is my microphone? Oh, here we go. Subtitles on. Okay. Sound check is good. And welcome, everyone, to the almost daily variety gaming live stream show. I am your humble, if eccentric host, the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo. Oops, let's type a thing. Wish this was a way to automate. I wish there was a way to automate all this. I guess I could make this a timer, but that just seems kind of ridiculous. Especially since timers get a little crazy. Anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome to the pregame chat lounge session. Today, on this segment, we are taking a look at one of the very first things I downloaded when I got the Xbox that I've yet to get around to play. The Matrix Awakens, an Unreal Engine 5 experience. It's a technical demo, so I don't know how long of an experience this might be, but presumably it's not terribly long, but arguably it might be mind-blowingly awesome. But I figured, since I'm like at my threshold of games I can fit on my hard drives now, I should play this through because it's bound to be relatively short, so we can have done it, looked at it, enjoyed it, shared it with the world as a stream, and then move on and uninstall it, so that we would have room to install more things because new games are coming out every week. So yeah, The Matrix. Let's talk about The Matrix. It's a fascinating postmodern sci-fi blockbuster movie. And while there are some things I have like criticisms about in the trilogies, I have to admit that I overall am a fan of the franchise. The reboot, the recent sequel / reboot was interesting. It wasn't as amazing as some of the hype made it out to potentially be, in my humble opinion, but it wasn't horrible either. It was pretty good. Now, I have one meta comment, like an outside of the box comment about The Matrix. Since the original came out, people have been fascinated by it, specifically as some kind of analogy for our world. And while to a certain extent I can understand and maybe even like go along with some of that, there's a really critical thing that I think is worth talking about that I often point out in spiritual content. In social media spiritual circles, there's a lot of talk. And also, interestingly, in spiritual circles and in conspiracy content enthusiast circles, there's a Venn diagram overlap of people talking about escaping the Matrix or tearing down the Matrix or whatever, vilifying the Matrix. Now, here's a problem. Now, if we only understand the definition of the term The Matrix as it is defined in the sci-fi movie, then two things are really important to realize and acknowledge and think about. Then yes, all the talk about escaping the Matrix makes sense. And also, we are choosing to take on a postmodern sci-fi definition of something that has an ancient mystical origin and root meaning. In other words, the root origin word that is the Matrix has a definition that is centuries older than the movie, than computer technology, than the ideas of a simulation, benign or malicious. And this isn't some trivial, fun bar, trivia fun fact that should just be looked at with curiosity and ignored. The root meaning of the term matrix is literally the divine cosmic womb. Now, I get the power of the analogy of the movie Matrix when it comes to symbolically representing the mental cages known as political, socioeconomic, ideological constructs. But if we were to permanently confuse man-made ideology with the organic living matrix that is the uterus, the cosmic uterus, which is literally gestating all of life, then we're targeting the wrong thing if we do that. We're leading ourselves and each other astray from the spiritual path if we do that. Just my humble take, weird and maybe totally irrelevant to the following video gaming experience. So just to kind of wrap things up, yes, political, socio-economic, cultural, ideological constructs, ideas, when they become modeled, rigid dogma, effectively act as mental cages, right? They limit our ability to understand what we're perceiving. They impose presupposed conclusions, which are then projected out into the world. And they basically shutter our ability to comprehend, right? That's the danger in man-made ideological constructs, especially the more corrupt they become, the more rigid and dogmatic they become. That's the problem with organized religion. That's the problem with the postmodern politicization of everything, right? We're arguing about mental constructs instead of identifying real problems and their actual root causes. Conversely, if everyone, regardless of political background or religious background or spiritual background, if everyone genuinely understood through like a deep personal phenomenological communion with the real matrix, we wouldn't be encouraging each other to tear the matrix down, to escape the matrix, to blow it up, to ruin it. We would be focusing our attention on healing ourselves and each other from the trauma caused by ideological mental constructs. And we would be focusing our efforts on reconnecting with and communing with the real, OG, organic, original matrix, the mother womb, the living cosmic uterus that's gestating all of life. By no means am I saying that there's something wrong with the movie The Matrix. It's a brilliant piece of sci-fi, right? I'm just saying that like we shouldn't take those memes of Keanu Reeves saying it was a documentary too seriously. It's a sci-fi analogy about the mental dogma cages that we create in our minds. It's not a literal expose of what's actually going on. It's ridiculous. I mean, the theory that reality is a simulation denies the organic truth that reality is alive, right? If you insist on believing that you're just trapped in a simulation, then how do you prove you're alive? The problematic issue with any of these simulation theories is that they neglect all of the phenomenological evidence that clearly points to a living cosmos, of which we are a cell, a cellular member, right? Can you imagine if the cells in one of your organs got into a war about whether or not the rest of your body existed and whether or not the rest of your body was alive? That's what we need to be vigilant about. Ideological constructs that blinder us to the living reality of this divine, fractal, holographic consciousness that literally dreams reality into existence. If we blindly choose to redefine the term matrix, then we're attacking the wrong thing, yo. Okay, that's what I gotta say about that. Let's bookmark the end pre-game chat lounge here. Okay. I hope I don't sound preachy, right? Like, one of the things I say on my podcast all the time is I don't pretend to know absolutely everything or to know some absolute truth. The only thing I'm certain of is that the only absolute truth is that there is no absolute truth, because the very fabric of reality is quantum mechanically relativistic. That may sound crazy to some people, but it actually makes a lot of sense if you bother to investigate the fundamentals of physics and quantum mechanics and, cosmology. But I digress, friends. Did we bookmark this? I think we did. Let's enter this Unreal 5 cutting-edge gaming experience. It might be a little jarring after playing an Xbox 360 game. Who knows how big of a gap there is between the two. Let's find out. Here we go. Oh, my mustache is being extra. Okay. I need a screen grab. I don't know if that worked out. I want one of like the full title. Oh, there isn't one. Here we go. Wow, this looks very
like many of
intensely
you,
like the
I
original
work
scene.
with computers. I like the freedom I feel outside the limitations of the real world. But computers are also mirrors, reflecting back who and what we are and the choices we make, the worlds we build. They also confront us with questions about why we want to choose this over that, why we want to make X instead of Y. Where do ideas of who we are and what we want even come from?
That's a good
Take the
question.
red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real?
Serious
For
questions.
instance, I'm not even sure why I'm here. I remember waking up and thinking that I'm supposed to come here. That it was important for me to ask people, how do we know what is real?
Wow.
Hi, I'm Keanu Reeves. Over 20 years ago, I first played the character Thomas Anderson in the Matrix trilogy. Those films pioneered digital cinema with shots like bullet time. Back then, we talked a lot about where the digital age might take cinema and narrative. In an industry where actors have tried to remain perpetually young, we wondered about digital faces that could become immortal.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Moss, and I played Trinity in the Matrix films. 20 years ago, we asked
I'm fairly
ourselves
certain these
how
are
long
all
it would be
models, right? Like,
before faces and
they
bodies
might
could
be tricking
changed
us
as
with a few
easily as we
crossover
change
shots of
clothes.
real actors, but
We wondered
These
what
models
would
look great.
identity mean in a completely digital world.
And what would reality mean when a world we can build feels as real as our own?